everybody. I imagine you might have thought, is this the live cast starting early? No, we're trying something new today. Live cast will be later this evening, but right now we're trying something where we're going to do a deep dive on a specific topic, and I get to do it with my good friend Amal. Amal, you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, Jean. I'm so happy that I get to be a part of this surprise pop in.
Yes.
My name is Amal. I was a guest at your LeaderCast earlier this year. I'm leaning to the other side of the camera right now. Okay, here we go. Um, I am an embodied leadership coach. I'm a TEDx speaker and recently named Top 40 Under 40. I don't know what
Oh
else to
yeah, you
say
are.
about myself, but this is a little bit about it. I love everything spiritual and everything science, and I combine both in my coaching and in my work.
I love it. That's a great intro, and you crushed it as always. So Amal and I were talking last week, and we always have these conversations like, "Oh, I wish this was recorded." And we started talking about a little bit about procrastination versus doing the thing that you should be doing.
Mhm.
And you came up with this beautiful metaphor around, well, I know I should be drinking water, but I'm gonna go pick the perfect water bottle. I'd love just to dive right back into where we were with that.
Yeah. Just like a show of hand, I know it's you and I on the camera, but how many times we thought about the goal that we truly deeply desire, but instead of going towards it, we list those things that we need to do before we go.
This guy.
You can't see my hand. Oh, here we go. It's right here. I'm raising the wrong hand. Um, and it that water bottle, you want to drink the water, you want to be a water drinker, you're full heartedly, you're water, I'm so excited about water, I'm so turned on about water. But then you're well, can I drink water from a regular glass? Do I need the best water bottle so that I'm facilitating to myself the best water experience? Or should I get that type so that I can proudly say that I am a water drinker? And it goes on, and it's just
Yeah.
an epiphany of a to-do list to do the thing that you really desire to do, whereas
Yeah.
you can drink it out of a paper cup of, for all I care, just drink the damn water.
Oh, I love that. That whole idea of oh, here's this goal. You get all excited for that goal, and then you do everything around it, but not actually walking towards that goal. It's just
Mhm.
sometimes you just gotta put your mouth under the faucet and drink the goddamn water sometimes.
Yeah, but as you called it, whether it's avoidance or from my stand, it's a flight nervous system response, because you know what you need to do, but instead of going towards that goal that you want, and for myself personally, I wanted to write a book for years, and instead of doing that goal, I was achieving other goals so I can show up and write about them in my book that I already knew what I was going to write about. I didn't need to select more stories to go and write that book. I'm happy to announce that draft done, and now working on
Yeah, it is.
revision. Yes, yes, yes. But then it took me 1 year, no joke, 2018. I was training for the Ironman, hired a personal coach, going to the gym every single day. And in my head, it was if I build the discipline for an Iron Man, I can build the discipline to write a book. That was not even it's I'm gonna go drink juice so that I can drink water later. Um,
I love that tie-in.
it's our nervous system, or our body is so wise in finding other distractions,
Yeah.
and sometimes you do hit burnout when you're searching the best water bottle. You're overwhelmed by the options and the colors and the styles, and if it has a hook or it doesn't, or if it's metal or
Oh,
plastic.
and then before you even put the water in, you'd be like, "Well, am I drinking alkaline water? Am I drinking putting some something out, maybe some prebiotics in there? Is it the right amount of salt to get my gut go?" We're so good at convincing ourselves that we're doing the right things, moving towards it. But when you're just like, you're not doing anything. And you mentioned like that's a flight response. So
Mhm.
do you want to share a little bit? Because I know in a previous episode of the live cast, you talked about like fight and flight, which a lot of people are very known to, and it was fawn and freeze were the other ones, right?
Yes. Go back and watch the episode if you're interested in more info. But like a quickie is like with the like flight nervous system response, like think of every achiever you know in your life are hardcore flighters. We're achieving so much, we're keeping ourselves busy all the time, and there is a part of us that knows that like we're meant to do that thing, but we're going and achieving those other things.
Oh, interesting.
um so that's like also like being stuck on like perfection, and like if it's not perfect, I can't do this now. So you go and you learn the other things. So like it's not enough until I do this coaching program or this like certification or get that training or get that
Yeah.
experience or meet those kind of people that I get to show up and live my desire.
Wait,
Versus
are you
I'm gonna
targeting me
go.
right now?
I know you're like my ideal like human. Like flighters love other flighters. I'm like, and it's like it becomes this expert syndrome because you want to be an expert at everything and know everything about it before you show up and do it.
Yeah.
And so on the opposite side of it is like freeze. And freeze is the, we call them like couch potatoes. We like, this is the extreme. Freeze is your like think deer in the headlights, you're like, I don't know what to do. And
Yeah.
it's also like your, you know, you want to drink water but you can't get yourself to drink water, so you sit and watch Netflix all day, and no shame about watching Netflix all day,
Yeah.
like go do it if that's in your pleasure. But it's when it's intentional rather than you're numbing and afraid of success and afraid of attention, and you're like afraid of handling it, so
Yeah.
you freeze and you like you don't do anything. Versus flight, you're achieving so much, but you're achieving so much around your core desire,
Oh, interesting. It's
and
just like
you're
so
learning
you're flying
every.
around your core's desire, and you're never actually getting close to it. But you're like, look at all the things I've accomplished, and everyone's like, wow, you're a goer, you're a crusher. You must be just
Yes.
doing it. And then deep down, you're like, but I really want to be doing this thing, and I'm not doing, and I'm doing all this to hide from it.
Mm-hmm. And you hit on it. Like we're so celebrated, and we get that, but also we get this like, well, that's not the thing that I know I am meant to do too. Like,
Right.
um, yeah,
So that
yeah.
must be like like in my world, like we talk about imposter syndrome, but like it's so, and saboteurs be like, on one hand you're getting all this like accolades, and you have to like put on the mask and be like, hey, this is great, and probably getting some dopamine hits from it, and this is
Mm-hmm.
awesome. And then on the flip side, as soon as that's gone, I imagine it must be
Mm-hmm.
like a drop. My hands are not in frame, but just like a drop from that, going, whoo, going back down to hearing yourself go, but you're really not doing the things that you know you should be doing.
Yeah.
This is like,
Yeah.
oh,
Mm-hmm. And so like the practice becomes of like being like the discernment of like, do I really need to go and learn this thing, or can I just show up and do the thing? Like, do I really need to go and learn everything about water bottles, or can I just go put my head under the tap and drink that
yeah,
water? Or do I really need to get that experience before I apply to that thing that I want? Or yeah,
well,
like it.
it's, yeah, that's interesting. Where it's just like there's a component of it, like if
Mhm,
you are willing to just go take, like drink from under the water, if at the end of the day you know you
mhm,
need the water, and we're using the water as the metaphor of the goal, whatever it is, right? But you go and put your mouth under the water, go, this might not be the best way to drink this water, but I'm getting water, which is the best thing to move me forward. And then next
mhm,
time I can choose to drink that a little bit better versus spending all this analysis and like planning. I'm using air quotes here around this planning, is like this planning in itself can be like the safe harbor. Be like, oh, think about how great this water is going to be when we get there. Well, when you're getting there, be like, well, we're not done planning to drink the water yet. So, but we're safe, and think about it. Be like, no. Like, think a little bit, like be prepared, which is like the theme for my month with my clients is like, be prepared. But part of that preparation means you have to do an execution on it.
Yeah.
Is like not get stuck in that planning, not get stuck in that safe harbor. Like you got to go explore a little bit. Go try. Go put the water in your mouth. Grab it in your hand. Do it. Figure out what's going to work.
Yeah.
And you'll accelerate at it a lot quicker by doing that. Like preparing versus the over planning and the execution. You pair those up with the last part about learning, cycling through that.
Yeah. I like in my world, I call this like the inner game and the outer game. Like so much of my clients, like when we first start, are so stuck in the healing, the therapy, the coaching. And it, like, as you called it, it becomes this safe bay, like using your trauma and your conditionings and your limitations as another badge of honor to be like, oh, well, I need to heal this first before I can go and be in water spaces, which is like, yes. And so like you get to like heal and process and have somebody hold you, and you get to show up and like play with your own edges, soothing the nervous system as you go and expand your nervous system. Like, and I think of like people who desire a relationship or desire to start their business. Those are like the core people that like I work with. And you have your like, I want to do this thing and I know I want to, but like let me read all the books about it and let me go traveling and heal myself first. And actually, like, no, you heal in relationship. Like the biggest woundings show up when you are in a relationship, and you tend to those as you go and you have yourself outward. Like when it comes to your business, like having the perfect sales page and like the perfect words. We talked about this, like the perfect like word that's gonna speak to that like soulmate client that we know we can help, and it's like they're looking for us. And we spend so much time trying to like make it that word and not trust that like we get to show up and fix it again. And
There's the power word right
mindset
there. Trust.
The best mindset shift is for fighters, is go fuck it up and trust that if you fuck it up, you will make it right later. So not pausing until you know everything about water drinking. Like go and drink the shitty water. Do drink the water wrong. And trust that you will learn to do it better and then do it better versus staying in the trying to perfect it before you show up and do it.
Oh, I love that, because that speaks like the same. I think I'm going to borrow your way of putting it, but I talk about building in public, where like if you're building in public, is like you have to accept that this is there's a component of practice, and within this practice means you have the ability and the right to fuck it up and not have to explain yourself to a single person. You can learn from it and do it again, because if you're willing to build in public, you're going to have some missteps and you're not going to be the best polished thing ever. But if you don't start, you never will be. And when you start, you are better than you were the day before. And if you apply 1% continuous improvement upon that every time you go to bat, is you get that much better. So the next time you're better, you're the best that you ever were. Can you be the best you ever were at that thing, knowing at some point you're going to cross like that incompetent or the conscious competent like grid and be like, oh my Lord, I didn't know what I didn't know. And now I know what I should know. And that's a big valley. Be like, you got to keep going through it.
Yeah. And for me personally, it's kind of like if I put this thing out, it will define me for the rest of my life. And that releasing of, I get to invent myself 10,000 times. And the fact that I have invented and reinvented myself. For those of you who don't know me, like I was born and raised in Saudi Arabia. Like I moved to Canada 2013. I was like fully covered head to toes. And the like inner journey and reinventing and the outer journey and the reinventing. um it takes a lot, like,
Yeah.
and I'm willing, and I know people who are listening right now are willing, and there is something for you. Like if you're still here listening, you're like, get that.
Willingness. Yeah,
Get
I
that
love
for
that.
you.
Just
You're
that
already
willing,
willing. So just
be
trust that
willing.
willingness to like, you're gonna make it. You
Yeah,
have it. Go drink that water.
100%. And like for people that are listening right now and who will listen in the future, you're worth it, and be willing to take that leap, right? Like there's that willingness, and the word trust keeps slipping out of your mouth, and that's just a big component
Mhm.
that you have. I know that there's going to be some point in time that somebody who's watching this, I'll talk about myself, be like, I know I've had to go through that reinvention cycle, and I have to learn to trust myself, and
Mhm.
I'm willing to like look into the future and go, oh, future me was happy I did this, so I can trust
Mhm.
in that and borrow that trust from the future to be like, okay, take the step, take the ugly step, so that future me can be excited. And I know how hard it is to like make that leap sometimes.
Yeah.
Here's the secret: it doesn't need to be a leap. It needs to be like the world's babyest step. You just take
Mhm.
a step, and it doesn't matter how big that step is. In fact, I
Mhm.
recommend that you don't do leaps, because that's when you're going to get yourself in trouble. But if you take a step and, like Amal said, play at that edge, guess
Mhm.
what? You take a step today, you find out that your edge moved a little bit. You can take another
Mhm.
step and another step and another step, and you can just keep going. You show up
Mhm.
every day, and that's when beautiful things happen. There's no
Mhm.
overnight success.
Yeah. And overnight success is possible when you continue to put those little steps. All of a sudden, it's like adds up and it becomes this like, holy shit moment. I just did that thing that I avoided for so long or
When I think
bounced
the
around.
you've talked about like your inner game versus the outer game, right? Like
Mhm.
that inner game is like taking those steps, and you know that this is like a process, and this isn't like a week process. This is like years of just doing the inner game work and building that trust up, and then at that outer game area, at some point, all of a sudden it pops, and people go, "Oh, when did this happen? You're a success now." And like that's where I've referenced that overnight success. Is like it's from the external side that somebody does that. Internally, you're like, this is just another day in paradise. Take the reward, enjoy it for a moment, but just keep going, because you know how long it took you to get there.
Yeah. Um, this is making me think of one of my clients, and they've gone to a lot of therapy, they've gone out into a lot of coaching, and I know you do somatic work, so you work with the body too, Jean. So like I'm speaking, I guess, for both of us.
Yeah.
When the inner game becomes more than the mindset, because while mindset
Oh no.
is so important, when we chatted, but like you have the neocortex part of your brain. This is where you're like rewiring the mindset pieces. You have the limbic system, which is your emotional reality. And then you have your primal brain, which is your flight, fight, freeze, fawn responses.
Yeah.
And a lot of surface level self-help would say rewire this part and everything would be great, make decisions from here. And it's true, like you do make conscious decisions from here, but it's actually like this part and this part are influencers to the primal brain. So if your primal brain think it's not safe to just show up and drink water, like you're gonna like find that like flight happening automatically. And so working somatically with the body, like healing that, stretching that nervous system while keeping it in safety and in trust internally, not just in the head, uh, can be like heaps and miles and leaps into transformation that can happen when we're working with the body. And that clients like experience that like through like our work together of like I've done so much healing and coaching, but like working with the body and somatically more than just
Yeah.
mindset can have huge impact.
Oh, and one, I got nothing else to add. That's just spot on in my opinion. And it
Mhm.
is important, because like our body is like it's a running sensor, like it's an extension of our intelligence, right? And it has messages, and
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it's really hard for this conscious part to understand what's happening. But if you
Mm-hmm.
start to feel into it,
Yeah.
it'll speak, and it will speak very loudly.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. One of the things that I love like talking about is like trying to yank our bodies to where our heads tells us we should be. And this is when we loop into like layers of self-loathing and judgment, and you go on war with yourself, which is not soothing to the nervous system. It's actually more stressful. So like, yeah, just in grace and in love and in compassion, like, you got this. You're inherently worthy of that water. If you have a desire, walk towards it. It's the path towards it. That's the path. Yeah, I'm just like so lit up by people wanting to drink water. That's all.
Hey, drink water outside of the metaphor is super good for you. Uh, just do that to start off with, and when you're using the water metaphor, move towards it, right? And the one thing I like about what you're saying about the old part of the brains there, where when you're getting those reactions, that is coming from a place of safety, because its job was to keep us safe. Like,
Mhm.
not that many years ago, we were being chased by saber-toothed tigers, and like our lives were in danger all the time, and it's what
Mhm.
it did. Our lives are much different now in this day and age, so that when we have this sense of fear, it's still triggering, going, oh, we're not safe. Oh, okay, let's do a whole bunch of things to keep us safe, and all the flood and everything else that happens of hormones and drives and automatic systems do take over. And it usually isn't for the best result when you're not in a life or death situation. So I
Mhm.
like that idea of like training your body to like feel that edge, and to know that maybe it's not saying that you shouldn't be doing this, but this is just bringing some awareness, like you're getting out of your comfort zone, and it's okay.
Mhm.
It's paying the toll. Is like bringing that into your body and going, it is okay. I'm going to be safe. And you could like literally need to say that to yourself. And
Mhm.
as you bring the calmness down, as you slow your breath, then step and then step, and just
Mhm.
keep practicing being safe within those moments.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's an interesting, a whole bunch of interesting
Yes, to
metaphors all wrapped up
safety.
into this. Yeah.
I remember a time. Oh, Jean, can you still see me or hear me?
Yeah, you're coming through. Oh, I can hear you, Mo.
Am
Oh,
I?
yeah, you're good.
I'm frozen. Okay, I can hear you now. Can you hear me and see me clearly? Can you speak?
So there's a bit of a delay. So it's like watching an old show that's been lip synced a little bit, because the video and the sound are off. Oh, there we go.
I'm
The laughter's caught up.
It's not working.
And see, everyone, this is the beauty of building in public, because sometimes, even with the best technology, we get little snafus, and it's okay.
Ah, I think it's back now. Ooh.
You're good now. Yeah. The mouth and the words are synced, so we're good to go.
Not on my end. So yeah. Anyways.
So where did you want to go with that? Before we had kind of got snafu there, you were talking about safety.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and safety from the internet, not blowing us off. But like, there was a time of my life where like the word safety was like, I am safe. Like, what do you mean? And it did not resonate to me. And just like for those people who are like safety, like what is that? Um, just like noticing like what is at the opposite side of your your fears. And what would it like, what safety, what do you need to know and feel for you to be able to show up and like a little bit yourself while you're looking at this fear? And like, it could be safety for you, it could be another word, it could be like knowing that you will belong and you will still be loved by your family. It could be that like people are like, you're not going to lose your friends because now you're so successful, and which is like one of the biggest unconscious fears that a lot of my clients have. And it ties back to safety, that like I will continue to be loved and belong. If I'm so successful, I'm not going to lose all my friends, I'm not going to like become another version of Jeff Bezos for all, like I don't know why, but like that's the measurement of like, if I succeed, I'm going to be the devil. And that's not true. And that's like pieces of self-trust, pieces of like finding the safety, like that you will be okay, you will still be a good human, even when you're like wealthy.
That's an interesting area to play into, right? That idea of like, that's, if I'm successful, do I then become the devil? Like, do I become this like hated person that's alone and all these other and isolate? Because you're right, like that's a big component of our social safety and everything else, is like, what happens if I become successful? Who do I become? Be like, you already would be them, and you can continue to make your choices around your core values and what's actually important. And if success just happens to show up, that success doesn't always necessarily mean dollar signs, and can to some. And it's great when you're typically, when you're successful, that does happen. But like, maybe you learn to look at is the water coming out of that tap, is that success?
Nice.
Yeah.
Is the water coming out of the tap, is that success? Yeah. Is the fact that I have accessibility to water, is that success? And what's coming up to me, Jean, like 1 second. What's coming up to me is the whole, can you see me? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
What's coming up to me is that downsizing, the other type of flight is downsizing your desire and downsizing your dreams. Because like, I should be grateful, like I have so much juice in my life, why do I now want to go and get water? And if I can't drink water, then like maybe I should just like I'll be fine, like I still have juice, like it's okay, it's fine. So you're like being stuck in the, oh, I don't want the water that much, I'm okay if I don't have the water, while actually like deep down you know you want the water. And you're telling yourself like, hold on, now you should be grateful for all the things that you have and all the things that you've achieved. While that is true, you're still like flighting away from what you want, and there is a little bit of a freeze there as well.
Oh, interesting. That is true. Like, we will downsize that desire, and like the reason it keeps pushing up, because there's a reason that you want to move towards that, and something within you is going to keep speaking and gnawing at you, and it's going to demand your attention. And the sooner that you give it that attention, the sooner you can start to be like move in flow and like freely from it, and not be shackled by it, because it does put like a psychological weight and an emotional weight, and it does bring you down.
Yeah.
Lots of fun in this conversation. This is why we always say we should record our conversations.
Our own podcast and just like talk about it. I could talk nervous system response all day, so sign me up anytime.
Well, and I do want to be like aware of the time. Like, we just blew through 30 minutes like that, so I want to be respectful of your time, because you are a busy lady.
Cheers to that. I'm excited. I'm going out. Like my human is making me dinner, So I'm going to
Nice.
go eat my dinner, and I had a long day, beautiful day of meetings and clients. So it's been just a pleasure to end my day with a conversation with Eugene and talk
Uh,
about the system and talk water.
yes. No, this is like, I'm so glad that we had this topic and that we decided to keep moving this idea ahead of like doing this deep dive. And I hope there will be more in our future because this was a lot of fun. But again, having a conversation with Mal, like I selfishly just get to enjoy that. And now I get to share that with the world.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, Jean. I enjoy this too. And I think our audience who are listening right now or listening later should drop us like a thing to say like yes to more. And maybe we
Yeah.
will think about it to make it public and not just like keep it to ourselves.
I love it. Yes, let's do let's find out. Do we want to do more? You let us know in the comments down below whenever you see this. And if we get a few, I think I might be able to talk them all into more.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Yes. Thank you so much, Jean, for having me. It's
You're very
a
welcome. Thanks for
pleasure.
jumping on, making this fit in your time. And now we will let you go be with your human. Go enjoy that dinner and enjoy the rest of your evening.
Yes. Mwah. Bye,
All right.
everyone.
Until next time.